because of the Alabama Crimson Tide, and it's women's gymnastics time, and we've got an incredible top 10 matchup for you. The 10th ranked Crimson Tide welcome the #1 team in the country, the Oklahoma Sooners. You're watching Friday Night Heights, presented by Sprouts Farmers Market. Hello everyone, I am John Roethlisberger, joined by NCAA champion Olympian Sam Pesek. We'll also be joined by Taylor Davis from the sidelines. Great top 10 matchup tonight, Sam.
Yeah, it's exciting. Alabama is hungry to bounce back after some mistakes last weekend, and Oklahoma has been on a roll this season, but this is actually their first away dual meet, which means it's the first time that they're ending on beam, so it's going to be a good mental test for them.
Well, let's start with Oklahoma. 5 all-arounders for them competing tonight. 4 in the top 10.
Yeah, it's incredible. In the past 3 weekends, they've had 3 different all-arounders. Isn't that insane? And 4 of their 5 all-arounders are top 10 in the country. They have got a stacked roster here.
We got more on the Alabama Crimson Tide team. We're going to go down to Taylor Davis.
Well, John, the entire roster is available here tonight, but not necessarily at full strength. Unfortunately, this team was hit hard with sickness this week. As of yesterday, head coach Ashley Johnston told us she was still waiting for some of the athletes to be cleared to be here tonight, and a handful have been unable to train all week. Now, they are all here today. Energy has been high during warm-ups. Her message to them has been, don't waste a crisis. This is not ideal, but let go of your expectations and just compete freely.
I love it. Don't waste a crisis. Well, we're going to see what the Crimson Tide can do. They're going to on vault here in the first rotation. Karis German will get things going for them, and KJ Kindler, the head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners, said she expects Alabama to come out strong and rebound big time here. So hopefully they can give a test to the #1 team in the country.
Alabama's excited for Karis to start them off. She learned this 1.5 this summer. Too much juice, but it's still what I would consider early in the season, and that's technically a good mistake, having too much momentum, taking a step in what we call the right direction.
So they got 1 vault on their feet. You see the scoring tower to the right hand of your screen. All the gymnasts competing on that said event are listed. As they go and get scores, they will be populated into that scoring tower. Lily Peterson, one of the all-arounders, one of the 5 all-arounders competing for Oklahoma tonight, starts off things on bars.
They looked sharp during warm-up, and I'm excited to watch this freshman in particular. This meet, she is just producing strong numbers straight out of the gate. And every handstand is dialed in. You can see them almost holding that vertical position just to show off, hey, I hit fully vertical.
We watched them warm up, Sam, on bars, and it was like throwing darts into that mat.
Yeah.
They stuck landing after landing. It was pretty astounding.
But you know, last week they only stuck 1 dismount, so head coach KJ Kindler said that's a focus here in this meet.
Karis German, a 9.775 in the leadoff spot. Now Corinne Bunnigan, senior from Ramsey, New Jersey, set 9.775. You're trying to go against the #1 team in the country. Scores cannot be in the 9.7s for this Alabama team if we want to spring the upset.
Good body shapes in the air, controlled landing, and that was the opposite of Karis, where it was a step in the wrong direction, meaning she didn't have enough momentum, enough rotation to take a step forward, and unfortunately had to get a deduction for taking a step backwards.
Maybe trying to get that stuck landing.
Yeah.
Did she see her teammate overdo it and think, gosh, I really need to stick this?
Yeah, sometimes that happens, and there's a little bit too much pressure or emphasis on the stick.
So Lily Peterson has been an outstanding freshman for Oklahoma, and they just go from one outstanding freshman to another. Addison Fada, former U.S. national team member, former elite gymnast, and she has just stepped in and found her stride immediately for this Oklahoma team.
Yeah, and it's not like these freshmen are just getting thrown into the lineups. They are actively competing for these lineup spots. They have 9 deep on every event, and I watched warm-ups. There's an athlete that's not even competing here today, and I think she had a couple 10-0 routines that I saw that aren't in the lineup.
There's KJ Kindler 19th season as the head of the Sooner team, and that look of unhappiness on her face is because the judges are having a meeting to discuss that Lily Peterson score, which, as a coach, generally, you don't love to see a judges conference, especially when it was a hit routine.
Yeah, there's a couple things at play here. One is you don't like a lot of thought about the routine, but more importantly, you're icing out the next gymnast that's going to compete. And with a very mental sport like gymnastics, sometimes that can throw you off, especially with a new athlete, a freshman here.
Well, I know when I was competing, Sam, I had a routine before the routine.
Yep.
You go up to the chalk tray, you chalk your grips, you take a deep breath, you rehearse your routine, and then usually you time it out so you can start. And Addison's been standing there a long time. 9-8 for Lily Peterson in that start score.
But this is good experience for this freshman early on to get thrown into maybe some more challenging situations earlier in the season. Big release move. Judges are looking for form throughout, squeezing those legs throughout this routine. She's doing a nice job of that. Good handstand position. That's exactly what Oklahoma is hoping to see on bars. Again, they stuck one last weekend. This is putting them, there's a contagious feeling to sticks in gymnastics. So if your number 2 athlete is getting a stick, chances are a few more athletes are going to get a stick in this lineup.
It was a great look at it coming right at you.
And you could just see her eyes were watching the floor way before her feet got to the mat.
And if you're wondering a textbook way to stick a landing, that is it. Arms out in front, doesn't move. Now back over to vault. Jordan Paradise for the Crimson Tide. Already have a 9-6 on the scoreboard.
It looked good, just short of the rotation. Again, remember, some of these athletes were battling sickness throughout this week, so they might be a little shy on stamina as well. This is an event you really need a lot of power for.
You can see Alabama, rather, a 9.775 and a 9.6. They're going to have to count that 9.775. Women's gymnastics, you have 6 athletes up on each event. The top 5 scores count. That means you can drop the low. If you have a mistake, you have a fall, you can theoretically drop that score from your total team score. However, don't have more than one mistake, then you'll have to start counting it. Addison Feta, a 9.85, Sam.
Good score for Addison, and Faith is an athlete that has really just been so consistent for this Oklahoma team. She's ranked 4th in the all-around right now, and she's more of that a quieter athlete where she isn't necessarily flashy, but produces great scores every single time she touches the equipment.
Nice handstand position.
Salto, the distance away from the bar, right back up. Saved it just a little on top, making sure judges saw the vertical position. And a small scoot. I think we used to say that would be a college stick, but not anymore. There's a bigger emphasis on those landings now.
Probably a half-tenth scoot, I would say, but
yeah.
That was another great routine. The standard for this Oklahoma squad is it comes down to little things like that. Now Lily Hudson, she is a big timer for this Alabama team. Really somebody as a senior, somebody who really needs to be a leader both on the equipment and off. This could potentially be a big number for them, and they need it.
Got a 9.925 last weekend. She's got to do the same thing. Nicely done. Good body position. You can see her legs glued together throughout the twist. Just that small hop forward, but I would consider that a controlled landing.
Should be the highest score for Alabama so far.
Definitely.
In this rotation. Faith Torres, a 9.75. So a score in the 9.7s for Oklahoma as well. 3 gymnasts yet to go. Next one up, Elle Mueller. She's from Ham Lake, Minnesota, and a Twin City Twisters gymnast. JO national champion as well as Nastia Cup all-around champion. quite an outstanding freshman for Oklahoma.
She was doing such a nice job of milking those handstands all the way to vertical in touch, just like how she's doing here. Leg separation and mat pack salto. Working up. Ooh. Pushing through, had to redo that. Sets it up for a dismount. Types down the dismount, but gets the stick. So some form issues on the second half of that routine, but I'm really impressed with her handstand shapes at the beginning of that routine.
Well, she had that kip pass that didn't go over the bar. That's going to be a significant deduction. Over on vault, Gabby Gladio is getting ready to go for Alabama.
Yeah, last week, Gabby was getting ready to do a 1.5. She saluted, she went, and one of the judges missed it. So they actually had her go back and get the option to redo her vault. She did, got just a 1/4 tenth lower, but really impressive, competing twice. And that is definitely going to be their highest Alabama vault score. Just the height off the table. I say this about her gymnastics all the time. She just really floats to the ground. Her chest is vertical. She's just in a great position for that controlled landing.
She is the SEC vault champion from 2023, and yeah, her signature on vault is just that pop. She gets off that vault table, almost got the stuck landing.
She actually struggled with vault, coaches said, and saw that Alabama really had a gap there, and so she stepped up and overcame a lot of her nervousness about that vault and had that team first mentality. Great for Gabby.
Elle Mueller just a 9.65. And now, if you're going to have anybody up after a low score, this is the one to have. NCAA champion Audrey Davis.
Yeah, she is just money on this event. Ranked first on bars right now, and it's her skills like that. She just gets so much height on that release move. Every detail is so smooth in this routine.
Nobody is better on the bar than Audrey Davis. Putting on the front.
And it's like this every single turn she takes.
That was as good as I've seen her do, Sam.
I think so too.
And I'll tell you, the scores for Oklahoma, a little lower than I thought they would be. Now, I don't have a judge's eye and the pencil in my hand, but I got to think this is going to be a much bigger score in the mid-9.9s.
Yeah, there's nothing that you can take on the bar, in my opinion. Her handstands are locked in. Her release move is so detail-oriented.
So she just does what she always does, Audrey Davis, and that's one of the best bar teams you will ever see. Shania Adams, a senior, next for Alabama.
Clean, Yurchenko fold. That's starting from a 9.95. Just a small hop back, but very few form deductions in the air. She does a nice job keeping those hips open.
So big scores from Lily Hudson and Gabby Gladio for Alabama, both 9.875s. They needed those because they're going to count at least 2 scores in the 9.7s. We'll see what Adams gets. Lily and Gabby all-arounders for the Crimson Tide tonight. Going up against 5 all-arounders from Oklahoma, including this one right here, senior Jordan Bowers.
Bars, so she's an all-around athlete, but this is really a strength of hers as well. Jaeger, a good amount of height above the bar before she touches. Just clean gymnastics across the board from this Oklahoma team, and that's why this team is the #1 ranked team on bars. Looking for a stuck landing here, tuck pull in, and she gets it.
Audrey Davis, a 9.925 in the 5 spot, and you got to think that Jordan Bowers routine is going to be right in that same range.
Really nice, hiked Jaeger release move above the bar, and this is what's impressive is those handstands and then tuck pull in. Even when she twists, her legs are glued together. Sometimes that can be tough to do.
Oklahoma does have a mistake from El Mueller with that 9.65, but they will drop that score. They're going to have to count a 9.75. Alabama, you can see on vault, Shania Adams finished with a 9.8. They do have 2 scores, though, in the 9.7s. This should be pretty close. You can see right now Oklahoma trailing, but they only have 5 scores. When Jordan Bauer's score comes up, El Mueller's score will be dropped. So the difference between those 2 scores will be how much Oklahoma's team score will go up. That's kind of how the math works if you want to try to follow that at home. 9.95 for Jordan Bowers, finishes with an exclamation point. When we come back, we're going to talk about Alabama and their philanthropic nature that they have. Alabama gives back.